path you're on.
Okay, so I'm Erin, and this is my better half, Jason. And like a little backstory for us is, we both had good parents and good lives, and it's not like we ever went unclothed or unfed or, had any type of troubled life situations. But we always, believed in God and grew up in the church. And, unfortunately, sometimes tragic things happen and you can't prevent turning to the devil and to addiction. And this had happened for us back in 2011. That's when we first met. I had been going through a pretty serious tragedy for me. A very dear friend of mine who I considered a sister to me passed away unexpectedly in a car accident. And just a few months before that, Jason had lost his mom to cancer. So we kind of crossed paths during this really dark time. People say love at first sight, but even in addiction, it was for us.
It was, yes.
It was. And we knew we weren't in the right place in our life. We weren't in the right path.
Yeah, we wasn't meeting in church. We was meeting in drug houses. We was meeting in not the right places, you know?
And we knew that this lifestyle was going to come to an end for both of us. Jason had been putting off turning himself in for a prison sentence, and I knew I was headed towards one myself. So we knew that we were going to be separated at some point. Late 2012, that's exactly what happened. He had to go away to prison, and he went in first, and then I went in shortly behind. And, during that time, we both had decided, I had decided right away that this was it for me. I was done. I was not anymore. I have a daughter who I left and went to prison. She was 8. I actually, something interesting that sticks with me is when I was out on the streets, I can recall begging God to take the addiction from me because I couldn't do it for myself. I begged him every night, even high, and in my darkest place, I begged him to do something to take it because I could not stop it on my own. And I just didn't want to live that way anymore. And when I say he took it, he took it. I mean, I knew when I got incarcerated that was it. That was my sobriety day. I was never going to get high again. And I went into the prisons and had opportunities thrown at me that were only from the Lord. I was so blessed to work on what they call the Hope Channel, which is like an internal prison ministry. And we traveled to other prisons and to other places. I got to leave the prison with a monitor on my ankle for a couple hours a day. Not every day, but sometimes a whole day. And we would go and film. And we would film events going on in the prison as well, the church. And we created our own shows, too, that got aired across all the prisons everywhere. In fact, Jason saw me on a couple of them while he was incarcerated. So it really gave me a purpose. Okay. So
I was baptized a Catholic back in prison. After my brother passed, I told you I finally let go of all the hatred, reached back out to Christ, found my way back to the Lord, and found my way back to church, and started going back to Catholicism and got baptized there. So that was my first baptism in my whole life, and I was 40 years old, So I came home, and she's been baptized as a young child.
Well, 18 years ago, I was baptized.
As a Christian.
Yeah.
And, and we came home, and, we're night and day. When I meet people, I tell them, hey, I did 10 years. Hey, I was a high-level gang member. There was times, and to this day I cry because there's times I hurt people, because that's who I was at that moment. That's the life I lived. And I tell people these things, they're like, there's no way you did 10 years. There's no way you used to be this guy, because it blows their mind when they meet me now because of the change, So,
he's been out of work since May, and I don't think a lot of family and friends and people understood the severity of his health, which at first we didn't even really understand until time had gone on. And we kind of kept everything to ourselves for a few months, and just the kids. And we have 2 teenagers here in the house, and his son and my daughter. So we just kind of went through it alone. But then it started to become very scary, me being the only provider and him feeling less than, which he should never. Through sicknesses and health is serious. And every single day, no matter what, because my faith and our faith is so strong in the Lord that we know that every single day God's going to provide. I wake up and I might start to worry, but he won't let me. And I am an anxious, worrying person until as of lately. He's just taken it from me because it's like, I will not let you worry about this. I will make sure you're okay.